Unless you raising your own animals and growing your own food, you can't cut back no more. People done cut back on everything they enjoy and they still can't make it.
My paycheck does not give me enough to even get the bare minimums.
How are we surviving in this economy? How? Please, like $3,000 a month for my 3 kids to go to daycare. I'd be lucky to make $2,500 a month, and that's pushing it.
As you may know from your own personal experiences or whether you see on social media, a full-time job in America doesn't even guarantee you stability anymore. America really does have millions of people working every single day just to stay poor. Okay. And most Americans aren't even living anymore. The worst part about it is like they're getting used to it. They're really getting used to it and pretending that this is normal. When in reality, this is a crisis. This is not what it's supposed to be. And that sounds dramatic until you actually look at how people are truly living out here. You have people waking up early, going to work, clocking in, doing everything that they are told to do, and somehow by the end of the month, they still don't have nothing left. Hell, they're probably in the negatives. No breathing room, no plan, no savings, just another bill over and over and over again. And I think that's why so many Americans are so tired right now. And I'm not talking about in a normal way, okay? Or I'm not even talking about like I've had a long day kind of tired, like how you just, you work all day and you just naturally tired, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that deep mental exhaustion where you feel that no matter how disciplined you are or how many hours you work, no matter how many things you cut back on, no matter how many subscriptions you cut back on, none of that stuff, life still finds a way to get more expensive for you. And every time you finally feel like you're about to catch up or you get some breathing room, life just somehow comes at you with another expense out of nowhere. And the crazy part is that we keep acting like this is just a personal failure, right? Like everybody's struggling, must be bad with money. Like everybody living paycheck to paycheck is just irresponsible. Millions of people didn't just wake up one day and collectively just make poor decisions. But at some point, we do have to be honest, okay? When did this many people supposed to build a future when they could barely afford to be present in society? How are people supposed to save for a house when rent is eating up half of their income, if not more? How are we supposed to start a family when daycare costs more than some people's rent out here? Like that is insane. That is crazy to me. All right. How are we supposed to stay motivated when the reward for working hard is still being broke? There is no incentive to work hard out here anymore in society. That's why I say people are not just tired of being poor, they are tired of doing everything right and still feeling like they're losing. Okay. It's one thing to like lose and you didn't do nothing about it, right? I get that. We're not talking about those people. I'm talking about you're doing everything you can and you're still taking L's out here. You start thinking about the next paycheck. You start thinking, oh, can I make it to the end of this month without something going wrong? And that's not living, okay? That is literally survival. You are literally living survival mode, and America has way too many people stuck in survival mode right now. So in this video, I want to show you guys some clips about, Americans feeling like they are barely surviving or why a job doesn't feel enough anymore. People are starting to really lose faith in the idea that hard work automatically leads to stability. Because the truth is that people are not asking to be rich. They're really not. Most people are not asking for luxury. They are asking for the basics. They're asking for a place to live, food in the fridge, a car that doesn't break down every other month, okay? And that used to sound normal, but now it just looks more like a privilege.
Unless you raising your own animals and growing your own food, you can't cut back no more. People done cut back on everything they enjoy and they still can't make it. People making $30 an hour end up in the red. They just ain't paying enough to keep up with today's cost. Then you got Mike Johnson get on stage talking about they froze his $174K a year and he wants more money. But they also expect people to make $7.50 an hour minimum wage and survive. You can't make 30 and survive, especially if you have kids. So You can't cut back no more. People done cut back all they can cut. Fuck, they can't even afford the seed to start growing their own vegetables. So unless you raising your own animals, growing your own food, raising your own chickens, you in a bind. That's bottom line. And it's only gonna get worse. And you animals, you stuck.
This is a PSA for all of the privileged, rich, wealthy Americans. Hi, my name is Bridget. I'm 32 years old. I work full-time. And my paycheck does not give me enough to even get the bare minimums, okay? I had a savings account and I just had to use about half of it just to get by until my next paycheck. Okay, and the reality of that is once my savings is gone, I don't have a crutch. I don't have any more crutches. And the stress of going grocery shopping, y'all, I'm at Aldi, okay, which is quite literally probably one of the cheaper grocery options. And the way that I have to pinch my pennies just to make sure I have enough food until the next paycheck is quite literally wild. So to all of my single humans out there, you're doing amazing. And you know, we're a one income family. My fur babies don't work. I wish they did. I wish there was an opportunity. But what are we supposed to do? Like, when is enough enough? Because this kind of living is unsustainable. Unsustainable. Meanwhile, y'all are out here driving your Teslas and your Cybertrucks and your G-Wagons. Y'all, I'm in a Chevy Equinox, okay? And I'm starting to think I need to trade it in because I can't afford life anymore. When is enough enough? I would love to know. I would absolutely love to know. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. I have a college degree. I am overqualified for my job. I am severely, severely underpaid. What are we supposed to do? What's the answer? Because I think the next step for me, I'm gonna have to look into food stamps, and I bet you my salary is above the threshold. But obviously, I'm $85.26 away from being in the negative. What are we supposed to do? How am I supposed to buy groceries for 2 weeks with $85 only to have 26 cents left in my bank account? When is enough enough?
When do you think they'll get it? When do you think they're going to understand that people cannot afford the lives that they want? They can't afford the children. The generations will continue to get smaller. People will continue having fewer children. When do you think that's going to happen? Like, it's not a matter of, oh, well, it's just like a minor dip. It's a matter of the fact that people can barely make it work on their own. Or if you're in a situation like myself, I'm finally making really good money. I'm not going to immediately funnel that to a freaking kid. No, absolutely not. And yet the cost of living is still insane. Inflation's still insane. Housing still insane. And it's like they just think that they can continue to escalate on every front and everyone's still going to comply. Like, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to collapse. Like, I just don't understand why this is all coming as a surprise for them. They just think they can squeeze more and more and more. Everyone's increasing their prices on every front and saying, Why isn't anyone having children? Gee, I wonder.
You know what's crazy to me is how 1,000 a week isn't enough anymore. Like, you can't really live off 1,000 a week. I mean, yeah, you can if you get some like raggedy ass apartment with 1 bedroom, okay, and that's gonna cost you over 1,000 a month now. And then you got cars that are selling like 20,000 at the minimum for brand new cars, okay? They're around 20 to 30,000 a year. You're gonna have a car payment of like 400 a month for like 6 years. And life is just not fucking affordable anymore, dude. And gas prices is $5 a gallon now. Are food prices gonna go up like it did in COVID? Probably. And it goes up and it never goes back down. Once the gas prices are down, food prices stay up. Everything is not affordable anymore. What the fuck's going on in America? I'm sick of this shit. I just want a better life. I want to have a nice house on a lake with a boat. Is that too much to ask for? Why the hell am I making over 1,000 a week and I can only afford one bedroom apartment? It's bullshit, guys.
Okay, we're in a second Great Depression. Yeah, Charlotte, North Carolina is becoming an absolutely unaffordable place to live anymore. Lived here my whole entire life. 3 years ago, I was comfortable. I was living good. Everything was good. I was comfortable, right? Oh, I get guilty whenever I buy food. Buying groceries. Buying necessities. Let me know if you guys agree. What are you seeing in North Carolina? How are you affording groceries? How are you doing?
Gen Z is one of the most educated generations in history, but we still can't afford to live on our own. Here's why. In the 1980s, the average starter home cost about 3 times the average annual salary. Today, it's around 8 times more. It's not that we're getting lazier, it's that the prices are getting higher while our wages stay stagnant. That job that used to buy you a house and a car, now you get a studio apartment if you're lucky. If you have roommates and cut back your costs on eating out and going out. Yes, we still live with our parents, 1 in 3 of us, because we want to rely on them doing our laundry and making us food, even though our parents' food is pretty good, but because rent alone takes away half of our take-home pay. We're told to go to college, get a degree, build a life. We did all of the steps correctly. Now that life is just on back order, it seems.
Gen Z can't afford groceries anymore. Yahoo Finance reports that nearly 80% of Gen Z or millennials are using survival spending just to pay for basic needs. This means covering essentials like groceries or bills with debt or payment plans. 77% are using buy now programs like Affirm or Klarna to pay for basic expenses. 71% need a side hustle just to keep up. This isn't overspending. This is a systematic breakdown of the working class.
How are we surviving in this economy? How? Please. Like, okay. I just feel like I need to come on here and really show what it's like trying to survive as a single income family. Okay, we live in Nebraska. I can't work because I can't afford childcare. Childcare is gonna cost more for my 3 kids than what I'm gonna make a month. Everything I've looked at, $3,000 a month for my 3 kids to go to daycare. I'd be lucky to make $2,500 a month, and that's pushing it. We can't afford our rent. Thank God that we have landlords that are extremely understanding, but how are we doing this? I mean, literally, my husband's next paycheck and what we have in the bank right now is gonna go to rent, and it's gonna leave us with literally zero. No money.
Why were you crying?
What? How are we doing this? What happened to our world? I'm a 22-year-old mom who's currently worried about losing her house and her car because we can't afford it. I'm not trying to make my kids homeless. I know I have family that is going to help us in any way possible, and I'm more than thankful for that, but what are we doing? How are we doing this? How are we living? How are we surviving?
Friends, we need help. This job that I'm working at
is not able to provide whatsoever at all. We're behind on rent. The car is about to be taken, which is fine, but we are not able to afford our bills. So I am forced to have to go get a different job, which I've been in contact with 2 other jobs, and I have an interview tomorrow, which is fingers crossed, but we are behind. We are very behind, and I'm not making nearly enough. I've made almost $400 in the past 2 weeks. They just don't have the hours to give, and the place does not pay well at all. So I'm not gonna overreact, but I am being honest that we do need help in this moment, and anything that does go to helping is gonna go to our bills and our rent. But I love you guys. I hope y'all are having a great day, and no matter what you're going through, God has a plan. God has a plan. He does, and he will ultimately take care of you. But love you guys.
I wonder if anyone in the younger generations is going to ever be able to afford a home in the United States. Gas just hit $5 for regular at the cheapest gas station, and rent is $2,000 minimum for a 1-bedroom apartment. Everyone I know my age is either living with family or they're in college. I am curious what's going to happen with an entire generation who can't afford homes and can barely afford rent.
Okay, I swear that my parents and all the other older people in this world are living in a completely different world than we are today, because when I tell you that my dad has always preached, live with your parents, save up $30,000 and you'll be able to buy a house. What house are you buying that the down payment is only $30,000? Because I can't find anything that's not a shack. Like, houses and land are just like astronomically expensive. And then I was working as a waitress, and I was talking to these lovely older people, just an older couple, and they were talking about how they had land, and I was like, oh boy, I really wish that I could have land. That's my goal when I go, like, retire and stuff. And the older lady was like, oh honey, like, if you want to buy land, you should buy land now. And I was like, I'm working as a waitress. you think I have money for land right now? No. And so I was like, oh, I don't have money for land right now. And she was just like, oh, don't worry. Just like save a couple dollars from each check and you'll eventually save up enough. Maybe when I'm dead. That is like saving a couple dollars a check is not going to get me anywhere. I'm not even going to save up like $5,000 with that. It would take me so long. And with how expensive things are, like, I'm only eating like a meal a day to save on groceries. Like, it's not even funny. Things are so expensive lately.